Every day I take a walk. And every walk I start with the same sentence that I say sometimes one time at the beginning of my walk, and sometimes over and over for the entirety of my walk. And this sentence and what it does inside of me is changing my life. The sentence is, I am inviting a lot of breath to flow through this body, unrestricted, unlimited, uninhibited, without pushing, without holding back. Sometimes I replace the word a lot of breath with I'm inviting the Spirit of God. And you can edit those words to fit with where you are in your journey and what you believe. I think more important than the words that we say is the posture which the words remind us to take. So, for me, my body's doing something similar regardless of the terminology. I think that the reason that this is so powerful for me, and I'm only going to say this briefly, and then I actually want to explore this, doing this with you. No, I'll explain why I think it's powerful for me after we do it together. So I'm just going to invite you to do this with me because I'm about to play you a song, and this could help me to kind of open up a little bit more before I play the song. Rather than just watching me or listening to me say these words, I'm going to invite you to do this with me. So you don't have to say it out loud if you don't want to, but I think it helps. And I'll give you a trick. This maybe nobody cares as much as I do about what other people think of them, but for me, I am afraid that people are going to think I'm crazy if I'm just out walking around saying I'm inviting the Spirit of God to flow through my body unrestricted. So out loud. So I wear headphones so that it can just look like I'm on a phone call. So you could do the same here at your computer or later on a walk. Or maybe you are much more confident than me and you can just say what you want when you want. That'd be good too. So anyway, say this out loud with me if you can. Otherwise, you can just think the words in your head. But as you say the words, it's more important that you're doing the words. So, I am inviting a lot of breath to flow through this body. Unrestricted, unlimited, and uninhibited. I'm going to say it again with you, and I'm actually going to talk through it just a little bit so that you understand the meaning behind why I'm saying these particular words. Because it literally took me the last 10 years to come up with this one sentence that in a way encapsulates all the work that I've done over the last 10 years. I am inviting. There's an openness, there's an open, inviting quality to this that I think most of my life is sort of the opposite, where I'm holding out in sort of this protective way. So this is a really big step for me to walk out into the big, wide world and to say, I am inviting. I'm inviting something that I'm not creating. That's a big deal. That's a big step. And so I'm saying out loud, I'm taking this big step. I am opening my heart. I'm literally opening my passageways and inviting something from without to come to be within. I'm inviting a lot of breath. So not just our habitual state in modern culture, and I'll just parallel that with the habitual state of fight or flight, or I should just say the state of fight or flight, is to hold out breath except for what is necessary for survival. And you can just let that picture expand to all kinds of other resources that on one hand you really want in your life, and on the other hand, for some reason, we tend to only allow in what's needed. So a lot of times, maybe all the time, it manifests as breath. And I actually believe that if it's manifesting in other ways in our lives, for example, money or love or opportunity, or joy or enjoyment, hope, rest, like allowing just what's needed in looks like, well, I can survive on 4 hours or 6 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep or 8 hours, but I know that I really need 10 or whatever it is. I can survive on this. I know that I'd really love to have this. Like my body would just soak this much up, but I can survive on this. So I choose this, and I'm going to hold out the rest from coming in, because we'll skip the because. I can survive on this much money. This is a big one for me that's played out in my life. I can survive on this much money. I can survive on this many t-shirts. But I don't need 7. I can wash my clothes once a week, twice a week, and I can work out 4 t-shirts. These different ways that I find to survive on less. And so I hold in by doing that. I'm actually holding out more by doing it. When we do this in different ways, I can survive on this much love, and after that I'm going to start sabotaging my relationships again. I can survive on this much opportunity in my work, but once I reach the amount that I can survive on, I'm going to hold out the rest. And it's not so obvious as we're just saying no to the rest of the love or the money or the opportunity or the breath. It's more just that we only require the initial amount, and then we stop requiring the rest. And so we receive only the required amount, which is the minimum. I realize that I may be projecting something that I do a lot on you, and maybe you don't do this at all. If that's the case, great, good for you. There's a good chance, sorry, that was a little sarcastic, because there's a good chance that you are doing it in some ways that you're not aware of. So stick with it if you think that this doesn't apply to you. But chances are you may be resonating a lot with this. So when it happens in those other areas, I find that it's happening in the breath. For me, I feel like what's happening in the breathing is almost like and maybe even more generally, what's happening in the body is almost like a barometer or a barometer showing us what's going on in the rest of our lives. And maybe those other ways are less obvious, but the body, and specifically the breath, seems to really show what's going on. So, sorry, that was a long description of why this feels so important to me. I'm checking in with the breath. But here's the absolutely powerful and beautiful other side of that coin. The breath as a barometer. The breath can also be the thermostat by which we can set the tone for the other areas of our life. And what I mean by that is, in a very literal way, after I've checked in and seen what my breath is trying to show me, I'm also able to work on a purely tangible, physiological level with my breath to negotiate a new posture that starts in the body and then manifests in all these other areas in my life. It plays out. I believe that the holds in our life actually start in our body. They start with this deep sense of either safety or danger. So when I step out into a walk, I step out into the world and I say, I am inviting. For me, as someone who's been fearful for a lot of my life, in a lot of areas of my life, that's a really big deal. And then for me to say, I'm inviting a lot, a lot of breath. That's even going further to say, I'm not just inviting what's needed today, what's necessary for survival today. I am inviting more than I can use of the breath that is surrounding my body. And I think that's another element. So I'm inviting, I'm opening a lot, not just what I require, but not just the minimum required, but I am going to choose to require a lot more. And I've written about this before, but this idea of a tree that has only one branch that's has leaves or fruit on it. It's almost like that's the picture. It's requiring the minimum to keep that one branch alive. And I'm this tree that's saying, no, I require more soil nutrients. I require more oxygen. I require more water for all of the leaves on this tree and the fruit on this tree to bloom, to grow, to thrive. I don't want to be the tree that can get by producing a tiny little fruit. I want to be the tree that requires a lot of resources in order to be fully what it is. So I walk out and I say, I am inviting a lot of breath, all and more that this body can use, to flow freely through this body. Flowing, I feel like that part of the term is so important because it makes a new assumption about the world, that there's so much breath available to me and around me that it's just going to flow through as soon as I open myself up to it. That's such a different assumption from what I feel like my posture towards life has been my whole life, which is there's not enough. There's never enough. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough breath. And my first 20 years of being a singer, I was always worried that my voice was going to run out, that I was going to run out. Like even right now as I'm speaking, there's a part of me that's still there. It's like, are you talking too much? Are you too excited about this? Are you going to lose your voice? But most of me now, over the last 10 years of daily work, is actually starting to believe, you know what? I don't think that I'm ever going to run out of voice unless I believe that I'm going to run out of voice. And what I've found as a professional singer who relies on my voice and can sometimes get freaked out about losing my voice is that the thing that causes me to lose my voice is being afraid of losing my voice almost 100% of the time. There is once in a while, like I'll get laryngitis, but even within the laryngitis bouts or having a cold or a sore throat, what I have found through a practice of exploring what if I don't conserve my voice is that even in sickness, my voice actually doesn't run out. 9 times out of 10, I don't lose my voice. It just sounds different. And this is huge. Like I should do a whole video just on this. In fact, I'll write it down and I will. I'll call it losing my voice. Not losing my voice when think I'm losing my voice. I'll come up with a better title, but the voice is actually just different. And there's a part of me that just cannot accept that my voice sounds different than the way that I expect it to sound, and so I start conserving. And as soon as I start conserving, I lose my voice. So just bring it back to money. How many times in your life has it felt like money is flowing and you're not even trying? And then other times you feel like no matter how hard you try, it's like the harder you try, the worse money gets. I've heard someone say before, money is just energy in a certain form. So how many times in your life have you felt the same about other energy, like love? And it's like the harder you try to get love, the less love you can get. And what happens when you start to feel that hard trying, a lot of times it's not even inviting, it's more forcing and pushing, and a lot of times it's conserving. And so the harder I try to preserve and conserve love, the less love I seem to have. And if you give that just a little bit of thought, it actually makes perfect sense. Because what happens to me as a love-giving and a love-receiving being, if I start to conserve my love, I start to believe that there's limited love, then I start to give less love. And as a love-giving, love-receiving being, if I start to reduce my love-giving, I'm closing the door for love in my life, and I cannot receive it. I'm holding on to the money, and so I can't receive more. I'm holding on to the attention. I'm holding on to the few opportunities that I have, and I squeeze the life out of them. And in a very practical way, I scare people away. I scare away love and money and opportunity, and in a way, even breath, by holding on to the little bit that I think that I have, by holding on to a perceived limited supply. I actually get just that. The very thing that I want, I get. I want to not lose this little amount of money or breath or love or opportunity. And so that's my lot in life. I am inviting a lot of breath to flow. I'm choosing to believe that there is so much breath, like there's infinite breath for me practically to receive here. And so I'm inviting a lot of breath to flow through. And that word is so important in the sentence for me, because I'm not just allowing it to flow in and then I hold on. I'm allowing it to flow through this body. Through this body. Unrestricted. I need to stop there too. Physically speaking, if you start to tune in to what your body does when you breathe, the more you tune in, the more places in your body you can start to notice, oh, I seem to hold on to the breath with my throat, or with my jaw, or with my hips, or with my calves. Like, it's not even parts that are necessarily connected physically or very obviously to the breathing process. And yet different parts of our body can become almost frantically, worriedly involved in the process of breathing. And it makes so much sense, because this next breath is going to keep me alive. And it's true. It's true that this next breath is going to keep me alive. And there's parts of myself that I can start to employ to sort of get stressed out and make sure that this next breath happens. And then after the breath happens, that it comes in, that I don't lose it. And so I've done this before, but I'm just inviting you, as I'm talking about this, to tune in to the possibility that your breathing happens without your help. And I'll just do the same right now. This topic is so exciting to me that I feel like I'm screaming at you about it. I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to watch back the video, but Sorry if I'm overly excited. But also, I feel a holding back even happening as I'm talking about this. And so this sentence is, no, there's so much breath available to you. There's so much love available to you that actually, and this is literally how it works with breathing, you don't have to pull it in to get it. You don't have to go and get it. There's so much breath surrounding your body that the atmospheric pressure outside your body will actually flow the breath into your body if you just release the pressure that's holding it out. Can you just let that metaphor, which I don't think is actually a metaphor at all, translate over to these other areas: love, money, opportunity, attention, harmony, hope, enjoyment, life. There's so much of it surrounding you that there's actually an external, gentle, very gentle external pressure so that when you release your outward pressure of holding it out, it naturally will just flow through your body. And the reality is that it will flow in and out just as freely. As soon as the inner atmospheric pressure starts to build, eventually it will reach a point where it's greater than the outer atmospheric pressure, and it will want to release. And this beautiful thing happens physiologically when you breathe, where it releases out toxins, it releases out CO2, it releases out things that, if held in, would actually kill you. And as soon as those are released out, I'm going to say, loving, gentle pressure of nutritious life around you, surrounding you, infinite, abundant, loving, and kind, flows right back in and fills you up. And then your body knows what to do with the toxins, and it releases them out. And life says, more space to flow in. And there's this beautiful dance that I described in my previous video between body and breath. And even as I just picture it and I describe it, I start to experience it myself. Maybe you can hear my energy changing as I start to describe it. And then you can hear it maybe change, my tones change back when I start to explain it. Which then I start to feel tense because, can I explain it? So come back to that sentence. I am inviting a lot of breath to flow through this body. And then I use these 3 words to remind myself of the quality of this relationship. Unrestricted. Do you know how much courage it takes for me to allow life, breath, literal breath, to flow through my body without restricting it? So my work then in this sentence, on this walk, in this life becomes, can I stop restricting the flow of life, the easy flow of life that wants to happen through this body that I happen to be inhabiting for a short time? Can I let go? Unrestricted, unlimited, reminding myself that there is infinite resource around me. I mean, maybe it's not literally infinite. I think it might be. It might be infinite. I know, our atmosphere, whatever. For my practical purposes, the breath is infinite. I think in a very literal way, the money is infinite, which is that one's a big, hard thing for me to understand, because most of my life I've felt like there's not enough money. But if I think about what is money, it's limitless. We created it. It's limitless. It doesn't have to ever run out. And if I think about that across the spectrum, I think it's probably true. Opportunity, love, acceptance, hope, attention. The only thing that makes it limited is that we're all holding on to our own piece of it. And the only way to change that is to start right here with this sentence for me. Unrestricted, unlimited, unattached. I'm not holding on to it. It's not mine. This money that's in my bank account today, when I die, will be redistributed all over. So why not just let it flow through as like fresh water while I'm alive? Why not enjoy all of this breath flowing through? It's the same with the breath. This little breath that I'm holding on to is also going to be let go of on my final breath, and it will be redistributed. It'll go into trees. The trees will release oxygen, and it will not be my property. Same with the love. Same with the hope. And all of these things are just different forms of energy that exist. It's far beyond my understanding. But I'm also going to do another video soon on I'll write it down, different forms of energy and how they exist in different frequencies on the spectrum, between low sounds and high sounds to colors, to all kinds of different frequencies that we pick up on as human receptors, really. We're like antennas, and we can feel these different energies in different ways. We can also create them. Different video, it's on the list. But in this case, I'm just allowing the energies to flow through and enjoying it instead of frantically holding on to it. And then there was a fourth word that I just started adding in the last month, uninhibited. And uninhibited may be implied with the other three words, but I feel it has value on its own for me right now in this context. Uninhibited. That to me paints a picture of life wanting to live through this body, through this person of Nathan, for a time. And me just kind of constantly wanting to control how that looks. Nathan, in my opinion, is a singer-songwriter. Or Nathan, in my opinion, is a very mature person, or very thoughtful, or sharp, or doesn't lose his temper, or all these different things. And when things enter my life that trigger something in me that changes that, it pisses me off. Like, it's like, why did you make me mad? Like, I'll say that to my wife like a lot of times in different ways. Like, why are you making me so mad? And what I'm really mad about is not that she's making me mad. What I'm really mad about is that I'm displaying anger, and I had already decided that I'm not an angry person. That is such a different reality. And it really puts the responsibility of the situation back on myself. I'm allowing life a lot of breath, a lot of life, maybe a lot of volume at times, a lot of emotion, maybe even a lot of anger at times, to flow through this body uninhibited. And here's the thing that happens when I stop inhibiting the life that's trying to flow through this body. Not only do I become a more free being, a more free human being, but the people around me start to feel like they're allowed to be more free too. So I stop trying to hold down my wife to get her to stop doing the things that make me too hard to hold down. And what I've realized is that by me trying to be a stable person, I start to try to stabilize the people and the situations and the circumstances around me, because I start to realize very intuitively, if they're unstable, I'm going to be unstable. So now I need to not only hold myself down, I need to hold down my wife and my kids and my friends, and I need to choose all the things in my life that feel stable. And what that does to them is exactly what it does to me. I've developed chronic pain in my jaw and in my throat because of the ways that I'm trying to hold myself down. And therefore, I've created chronic, recurring, ongoing pain for my wife, for my kids, for my friends. Maybe even in the inanimate objects in my life. Maybe I've created ongoing chronic fatigue in my money situation, in my business, in my opportunities, so that they're no longer characterized by freedom, but instead by control. And I'm just realizing on a deeper level how true that probably feels to them being especially the closest people to me, right? Because it just seems obvious. If I want to control myself, and I can't get in control of myself, the next layer I need to look at is whatever's closest to me. So it's my immediate family. But what happens when I start to not need myself, Nathan, to be controlled, to be, what's the opposite of inhibited? Inhibited? To be controlled. What happens, in other words, and to frame it positively, what happens when I start to become inhibited and I let go of the need to not be inhibited? What happens when I start to become more free? I put down a whole bunch of tasks which involved controlling, taking away freedom from the people closest to me, taking away freedom inside of my work. When I started making these videos on YouTube, they were like 4 minutes long. Now this video is 33 minutes long. And I was if you go back like a year or 5 years or 10 years at earlier stuff that I've released, look at my jaw, look at my face, look at my eyes. I can tell you right now, I still feel a considerable amount of resistance and pain in my jaw. I feel holding. I feel a lot of holding in my body because I feel this kind of inner dialogue of like the struggle of like, they're talking fast and you're excited and you're scaring people. And I can immediately feel how that is a 9-year-old Nathan worried about upsetting the people in his household with his energy. And I'm projecting it onto my current reality, 44-year-old Nathan, and the millions of people watching this video, or the tens of people watching this video, whoever ends up watching this video, to this point, you've watched a lot of this video. But I think a lot of people will watch this video, and whoever watches it is receiving a totally different energy. But are they afraid? Are you afraid right now? Am I scaring you with my energy? Am I upsetting you? Or is it possible that even inside of my work, my songs, my recordings, my writing, that the more free that I am, I actually put down the task of controlling you? I'm trying to make you feel stable. And I allow you to be uninhibited. I'm inviting a lot of breath to flow through this body, unrestricted, unlimited, unattached, without pushing, without holding back, uninhibited. My plan with this video was to speak for 3 minutes and play a song. I even thought about skip speaking and just play a song. And instead what I'm going to do, because I'm feeling a little bit tired, is I'm going to play a song, but I'm not going to play it right. And I almost just now ended the video so that I could not hurt myself to try to play a song. And then I realized the only way that it's going to hurt to play a song is if you try to play it right. But if you don't care about playing the song right, then you can play it in a way that doesn't hurt. So I'm going to play you a song that is not the right song for the moment, because I'm choosing a song, the first song that came to my mind, which doesn't seem related, and but maybe it is. And I'm going to either speak it or something, but I'm not going to force myself to make it perfect or hurt myself trying. And as I play the song, I'm just going to make it, this is now a space for me and for you to practice more of that sentence. I'm inviting a lot of breath. I'm inviting the Spirit of God to flow through this body, unrestricted, unlimited, uninhibited. What's the one I forgot? Unattached, without pushing, without holding back. Take a look inside your heart. Is it still the way it was when you were young? Take a look inside your soul. Is it still a ray of hope when things are cold? When I was young, when I was strong, when you were lost, I'd take you home. But now I'm just old and you're feeling cold. What happened to us? Take a look inside your heart. Is it still the way it was when you were young? Or does it feel like the road? It's never ending and we're going nowhere. When I was young, when I was strong, when you were lost, I'd take you home. Now I'm just old and you're feeling cold. What happened to us? What happened to us? Remember when we used to dream of all the ways we'd save the world from everything. When I was young, when I was strong, when you were lost, I'd take you home. But now I'm just old, with your feeling cold. What happened to us? What happened to us? When I was young, when I was strong, when you were lost, I'd take you home. But now I'm just old, and you're feeling cold. What happened to us? What happened to